All right, Ameed, thanks so much for responding to my outreach to you. I was super happy to hear that you guys were interested in talking with me. I have actually stumbled across Hamster Garage in the past, so was excited to have you on and chat. Maybe just to start off, if you could just explain a little bit about what Hamster Garage does and who you work with in terms of the types of companies.
Yeah, 100%. So let me start with introducing myself, I guess.
Of
I'm
course,
Ameed
yeah.
Hasiba. I'm the director here at Hamster Garage. I manage various accounts. A few of those accounts are Masterclass, Enphase Energy, Hopper. What else? Have a quick look. Hopper, Neighbor, and Bubble, to name a few. There's very different verticals. Hamster Garage is more of a boutique specialized in affiliate marketing agency. We are new to the field, but are doing pretty well so far. We have some huge clients such as Uber, Canva, obviously Hopper, Masterclass. Those are the biggest clients that we have currently. So great to see that we're getting so much exposure from these brands and that people are interested in working with us, especially those significant names that I just summed up. I think our quality lays within the reporting that we're doing. We have very deep insights into how we can prove out incrementality of partners, how we can improve sales revenue, but also as I said before, maintain that incrementality. So growing without losing quality. And then we're also very focused on optimizing our procedures on the go as we continue working on these accounts. So if we're seeing that an agenda that we're sending out to the client needs to be optimized, we'll take that and we'll work on that. Make sure that everything is documented. Every client has access to any information that they might need at any time of the day. So yeah, that's where I think our strengths lay.
It's always interesting to me when I see big brands working with agencies. Oftentimes people think of these big brands and think oh, they must have everything internally, and that's often not the case. What's the engagement like when one of these big brands is working with you guys? Are there often other agencies that they're working with in terms of their general digital marketing strategy, or is it often that you're working with an internal marketing team and they're just going to agency for their affiliate program?
Yeah, so we only manage affiliate programs for these brands. So that's correct what you're saying. Some of these clients do have internal affiliate employees that manage and help us manage these accounts. We're more for those clients, we're more there for the legwork and the strategies that we're building up together with them based on their grand goals of the company. That being said, the engagement that we have with them is basically on the go. We communicate a lot over Slack with our clients. We have separate Slack channels where we communicate with them, where we have that accessible point where if you need to ask a quick question or whatever, somebody will respond to you within a few hours within the Slack channel. And then we also have our weekly meetings with our clients as well, where we go more into the depth of performance, housekeeping things, outstanding action items, and so on. So there's there are various ways of communicating with our client, and we always ask our client what their preferred way of communicating is. If they prefer to send out emails, that's totally fine by us, then we'll go by email. But I notice most of them are keen to keeping the communication a bit more informal and over for example, Slack.
Yeah. You mentioned a number of big brand companies working, as you said, in a variety of different verticals. Are there any sort of interesting idiosyncrasies or sort of awkward quirks from one industry to or vertical to another that you've observed? Are there major differences that you've observed between these different industries and how to operate a successful affiliate program?
Yeah, it's funny because you always have a few foundational partners that you normally find in every program, right? Think about the Skimlinks, the Honeys, Rakuten, those kind of partners. You find them mostly across the board. They always apply for every program out there, mainly because they are lower funnel. then like it depends on the strategy really. Like for example, like if you have like a big publishing house like a Ziff Davis, a FutureNet, a Fox Media, most of the times like they have like websites in their portfolio that like work for a brand, if that makes sense. So like there's always going to be like that one specific website within their portfolio that works for that brand, but then like they have another website that works for the other brand. So like then like you work together with the same person, but like on whole different clients and whole different like brands as a whole, and then like whole different websites basically. So there are some, as you like to say, or as you said it, like, and excuse me, I'm Dutch originally, so like English is not my first language, but chronologies between like the two brands, between the two like clients. But then like it's so different when it comes to like the content piece, when it comes to like the audiences that read that content piece and so forth. But the strategy sometimes like stays the same, right? Like if we're doing like a content piece, we're probably going to boost that one way or another. If it is like I don't know, like Fox Media website or like the Cut website, right? Like it's like at the end of the day, like we're still like pushing out the same strategies to make sure like we're getting most bang for our buck. Does that answer your question a bit?
Yeah. It's interesting. We talk about these different publishers you're working with, and the way you're talking about content, I get the sense that you're working pretty closely with them in terms of crafting content that's specific for their channel. Is that something you're doing in terms of helping them create creative?
100%. Like I act as the bridge between like the brand and those content partners, for example, or like any partner really. So like I filter out the noise for them and just like bring back to like the recommendations that I would say are like a good fit for this brand and that are going to drive something at the end of the day. And like a lot of times, like we know that because like we work with these content partners across like a lot of like different brands. So we see like a strategy work and like another strategy not working. And that way, like we report back on that.
When it comes to recruiting affiliates, I imagine working with really big household brand names that it makes it a much easier in terms of the flow of affiliates. And it's probably more an issue of how do you filter out, as you say, the noise. That being said, to what extent are you actively going out and courting affiliates for your clients?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we have one associate on each account, at least one associate on each account, and you have the account manager, and then you have me, basically the director above that. We have 3 directors right now. I don't know how many account managers, 4 probably, and like a lot more associates. I can give you the exact numbers at a later time. So the associate's pure role is like to like do the reach out to like all the partners, and that's basically like their full-time job as it is to like reach out, get the name out there, and they will like do like close to like 500 outreach emails per client per month at least.
Wow.
So, like there's like a lot of like outreach that is happening. But like what I, for example, do is like I come up with like the websites, right? So like I communicate that to like the account manager. I'm like, okay, like I think like we should go after, I don't know, if you have like a Uber, for example, that's not my account. So like I don't know exactly what they're doing. But like let's like reach out to partners that can like drive new drivers for Uber, something like that. And then like
Right.
they'll be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna like start like looking for that. And then we'll like look for that, curate a list, send that over to the associate. The associate does the outreach to everybody on that list. And then like onboards like whoever's interested to onboard, reports back who's not interested. And then like we like accumulate like that feedback from the partners and communicate that back to the client in case they want to do something with that. Sometimes like, no, we don't want to work on a CPA basis. Like we do work on like a flat fee. Then we make sure like we are doing the projections there to make sure like that we have like an understanding of like what potentially like what potentially like this partner could like return to us as like a return of investment, a ROAS or like a CPA or like whatever it is that we're reporting on. And then like we'll leave it up to the client to like tell us like, okay, like I'll give you the green light to like move forward with this or like not. So like various tactics to like get those partners on board.
You mentioned something there about whether it's working on CPA or our ROAS, and you talked about like recruiting drivers in that one case for Uber as a hypothetical because you don't work with them specifically. Are you also working on like leads as well as conversions, or what are the different sort of models that you're operating under?
Yeah, like currently, like I am only working on conversions. This
Okay.
is like performance marketing channel. I
Yeah.
have worked on leads in the past at my previous
Okay.
job. It's interesting, but then like once you work on leads, you only report on leads.
Yeah.
Right now, like, I guess like I can like say like an app download could technically be a lead, right? Like somebody's
Yeah.
downloading the app, they're not converting yet, but like it is a lead. Like you know that somebody has interest in like whatever product it is that you're selling. But I wouldn't say like I report on those because like that's not what my main priority is. Like great and all that you download the app and or that you made an account on the website and whatnot. And I definitely like will look at it because like if I have a lot of people that are like downloading an app or like making an account on like my client's website but are not converting at the end of the day, there's definitely something going wrong with the product, right? I mean, like that's like what the data would tell me if
Yeah.
I looked at it. If I see like a lot of people like are like currently like downloading the app, but the conversion rate is 0.01%. It sounds like there's something wrong there from the people that are actually downloading the app. So then like I will have to like optimize with the client and like see if they're doing if that happens across the board. Does it happen with other channels too? If not, like is there something wrong with the tracking? Are we losing some? There are like various ways of like resolving that. So what I'm trying to say is like leads is a way of looking at it, and like definitely like some clients have that set up as like a KPI, but at the moment my clients are more interested in like revenue generating
Sure.
orders.
Yeah. Makes sense. How do you think about the types of affiliates to work with? A lot of what you've mentioned so far, it's been kind of big publishers and these types of things. Obviously, nowadays there's a lot of talk about influencers
Mhm.
coming into the mix within affiliate. So, how do you think about the types of affiliates you're working with, and then what sort of place is there for influencers in your mind within a affiliate program?
I have worked as an influencer marketeer in the past, so I do have like some experience working with those kind of like partners, I guess. I definitely think they have a place within affiliate marketing. I think there's a lot you can do with influencers. I think if you play it right, that influencer can be a very valuable tool for your network, for your channel. But I also think like you need to like pick very carefully who you onboard as an influencer. And I think like a lot of times like people seem to forget that and they just like onboard everything. My biggest concern with influencers is the validity of it all. So like are the
Okay.
followers they have like actually real followers or is it just
Right.
bots? Then like there are also like I don't know if you're like aware of that, but there are like also like a lot of like forums for influencers where they discuss certain kind of opportunities. And then like you notice that like in the comment section of those influencers, it's only other influencers that are commenting on that specific post because they know we're trying to get the engagement up. So like there's definitely like a lot of like fraudulent behavior, or not necessarily fraudulent behavior, but like behavior that I wouldn't,
Gaming.
yeah, that I'm not aiming for within those posts. I think like nowadays people like understand better like what an influencer paid post look like and they like ignore it more. At least like that's what I've seen across like my target audience within my network of like people that are following influencer. They're like, oh, like it's a sponsored post, I don't want to see this, and they just like scroll past it. So then like it brings up the question of like, why are you paying them a large amount of money if you can like for example spend that on like a content article, for example, at one of
Yeah.
those big publishing houses where it will help your SEO, where it will always be live, basically, right? Like
Yeah.
it's never like unless like something
Just
really bad happens.
scrolling away, like,
Exactly. And then
yeah.
like if somebody like searches, for example, like product X reviews or like how to use or like whatever, that article is probably gonna come up because the SEO of those like bigger publishers are is really good. And
Yeah.
that's like more what people like nowadays trust, whether that's like sponsored or not, like they don't necessarily see it that way. And it's more authentic, I think. At the end of the day, like if you have like a real product that you're trying to sell, you're not gonna go on like Instagram and like search for that specific product and like an
Yeah.
influencer post of that specific product, but you will like Google it, right? It's like if you're like curious to see if those running shoes, so always like an example that I use. If I Google like best running shoes in 2023 and like I get like a Ziff Davis article, it's like here are the top 10 running shoes for 2023. And then like you go over the list, that's all paid, obviously. I know that. But I also know like they reviewed the products, they have a strong opinion about it, and like they're actually doing the work for it instead of like taking a selfie and like it's an expert that like is reviewing it versus like just a influencer, mommy blogger that is promoting an article.
Yeah.
That's promoting a product, sorry.
Yeah, that I think maps to what we've seen. I think the way we've kind of looked at it too, putting aside all the sort of issues you've outlined in terms of the kind of gaming that goes on in terms of kind of gaming the system and stats and things like that, is that generally speaking, the influencers, they seem to be higher up the funnel, lower intent, lower conversion rates, whereas, published content team tends to be higher intent because it's usually some sort of high intent keyword that the person's found that article. We have one distinguishing factor one just sort of caveat I've found to the whole influencer thing in favor has been YouTube, because oftentimes YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. So people are actually searching keywords and coming across sort of educational content. It still doesn't, as far as we've seen, still doesn't perform as well as written content in terms of conversion rates, but it's significantly better than, say, TikTok or Instagram or one of these types of social platforms. Have you had any experience working with YouTubers within affiliate programs?
Yeah, but before I go there, let me like caveat something. I think
Sure.
I definitely think like influencers have a place in the marketing mix of like any brand, or the promotional mix of like any brand. I definitely think like you should not like, there are like issues with influencer marketing, 100%. I agree with that. I've pointed them out, obviously, but like there are ways around it that like I think like influencers can like bring like a lot of value for like brands, and I can like touch upon those. I think like having providing influencers with a budget to like boost their content, to retarget certain kind of people that are interacting with their post of that specific like that paid placement, for example, is like a good way of like pushing people down the funnel. I think like having influencers like post multiple times about your product in like a shorter period of time. So like if you have like one post a month, that's not going to move the needle. But if you have like one post a week, for example, with like a few stories here and there during the week, so like it stays top of mind for a month or two, that's going to move the needle. And I think like then like you'll be able to like actually generate some revenue and like orders and like really push that audience down that conversion funnel. And I also think like having them boost the content for the influencer based on like their top paid social audiences is like a really good way of like having that, because at the end of the day, user generated content is performing a lot better than professionally shot content, or
Right.
like content that you find like on like one of those big publishing houses' websites and stuff. Does that make sense a bit?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think there's a way that it has a place within the marketing funnel, and it might be higher up the funnel. It's about awareness, and the people you're going to come through, they might be earlier in their journey in kind of, awareness stage, and they're not at that consideration stage yet. But it definitely, yeah, we've seen that it does have a place within the mix. I think it's just important when you're building out your affiliate program and in just your marketing go-to-market motion in general, that you understand where they fit, where those visitors, where they fit in sort of their buying journey. And because, short anecdote, I had a recent sign up to Rewardful. They were just starting their affiliate program, but a fairly successful business. They're just new to affiliate marketing. And they were saying like, oh, like our traffic from our affiliate program seems to be converting at a lower rate than our just general traffic. Like, what's the story? And I went in and looked at some of their affiliates and the referrals that were coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and they were all YouTube. And so, okay, well, that's why, you're working with YouTube influencers. And so they're just higher up the funnel. And
What YouTube does well is like what you said earlier, the keyword
yeah,
search, right? Like
yeah,
if you look up like, to go back to the running shoe example, like best running shoes, you're already looking for that product, right?
yeah,
As on Instagram, you catch that user probably at a time that's not convenient. Let's be
yeah,
honest, like probably waiting for the bus or like the
yeah,
train or a traffic light, which I do not condone. But you're probably
yeah,
like, doing something else at the same time. You're not
exactly.
like in the I'm buying or I'm doing research about like a product mindset. It's just like,
Yeah,
cool product, and then you move on from it, right? So you really have to capture
exactly.
the attention of the audience within like seconds. I went to like a conference like a few years ago at this point, an influencer marketing conference. Per day, like somebody swipes as much as like 3 times the Empire State Building. I mean, that's a really tall building.
Yeah,
If we're
yeah, yeah,
swiping that much each day
yeah,
through Instagram alone, and like let's say like 1 out of every 20 posts is like an ad, you see a lot of ads.
yeah,
How do you stand out? You stand out by repeating yourself. You stand
yeah,
out by making sure the audience is aligned. Like if you're like a
yeah,
fitness influencer and I follow a fitness influencer because I want to get fit, and like he's recommending me like these like Nike running shoes, I'll probably like trust his opinion because like
yeah,
that's following him. Or like he's promoting like these like protein bars or this protein powder, I'll probably like trust him. Whereas like if it is I don't know, a mommy blogger, for example, that's promoting the running shoes. She probably runs too, and she walks a lot and I don't know what, but like I don't think that audience is like as aligned, for example, as like you would have with, for me personally, as you
yeah,
would have fitness influencer. So picking the right influencer is important. Then like picking the right platform is important. If you want to like reach Gen Z, you probably should be on TikTok. You should not be on
yeah,
Instagram. If you want to like reach the millennials, you should probably be on Instagram. If you
yeah,
want to reach like everybody that has like some knowledge about like what they're looking for already, you should probably be on YouTube, having like some of those YouTubers like explain like what a good running shoe is, and
yeah,
like hope that their SEO brings you to the top of the list when somebody makes a search.
yeah,
So that's like how I think like every channel has their own benefits, but like also like downfalls.
yeah. Moving on from the influencer side of things, when it comes to finding sort of more true, old school affiliate, what are some of the best sort of tactics or methods that you know of trying to tap into good pools of affiliates?
Yeah, I definitely think like your platform marketplace always has like a good like handful of like affiliates that you can reach out to that are already on the platform. So like we always like start our search there. Low hanging fruit, as I like to call it. Like these are already like on the platform. So like for example, like an impact marketplace, they already have like a lot of like partners on there that you can like connect with immediately and send them a proposal through the platform and like have them be onboarded onto your program. So I would say like that's like the first step that like every marketer should probably like utilize. Ask your success manager at that specific platform, whether it's CJ, Rakuten, Impact Radius, whatever,
Yeah,
for like advice about that marketplace. Access it, look for the partners that like you think will drive the correct kind of audience to you, and like onboard them. Then like in addition to that, like I think like getting into the head of like who you're trying to reach and like what kind of searches they're making is like a good second step. So like if you're trying to like target like penny pinchers because like it's gonna be Black Friday, so you want to make sure like that your amazing deal is like being promoted, you should probably like send out like a few newsletters with like a honey or a retail me not or like a Rakuten with like whatever offer it is that you're offering. So like having like an understanding of like who am I trying to reach here. If you're trying to reach like more like upper funnel partners or like more upper funnel customers, the customers that are more in the upper funnel, you should probably start doing like Google searches yourself. Going back to the running shoe, if you're like trying to sell running shoes, just like conducting a Google search yourself, like best running shoes 2023 or like best running shoes or starting to run, like those kind of keywords, right? Like getting like an understanding of like the websites that are in front of you, reaching out to those partners and like seeing if you can like have them if you can like get like conversation going with them. That's how we normally start it. Like I try to join like at least like 3 conversations with like publishers like a week, wherever my calendar allows me to join them. And then like I just like ask questions like, what's your target audience like? How many visitors do you get per month? I was looking at this specific page on your website, which I think like correlates a lot with like the kind of audience that I want. How many visitors visit this kind of page like in the last couple of months or something like that? And then like based on that, like I can kind of like calculate like, okay, like 20% of their like total audience is like interested in like my product. And then like based on that, like you can like determine whether you want to work with that publisher or not. Does that answer your question a little bit?
Yeah, that's great. Once you've got an affiliate on board, what sort of things are you doing to onboard, educate, and activate your affiliates?
Yeah, I like my recommendation would be to like create content, always get content out there, educate the audiences first. If you have a product, they need to understand like what makes your product special, what makes your product worth buying versus like the other product that is being sold by the competitor, right? Having like the affiliate like outline that and like showcase like this is like the product cost this much, these are the benefits, these are like the, also like be honest, right? Like these are the benefits and these are the downfalls of this product, right? You don't want to like put that in the spotlight, but you should mention it, otherwise you're going to get like a high bounce rate, which is also not something that you want. And then like just like having like a clear call to action at the end. For example, like right now, like we're testing discount codes in like paid articles, and what I'm seeing right now is like 20%, 30% of like the traffic from that article is being redirected to the partner website, to the client website, excuse me, based on those tracking links, based on those like discount codes. So like they see like 10% off, I don't know, I'm just making this up, right? 10% off like a 3-month subscription if you click here and purchase now. And then they click there and like hopefully they're gonna purchase, right? But they know like where to find that discount code. So like having like a clear call to action, but like also like understand that like probably the first article that you're gonna push live is not gonna perform as well as like the second, third, fourth, fifth article. Because like what we do at least here at Hamster Garage is like we create like unique tracking links for every tracking link. So if we have an article with like 10 tracking links, each one of those tracking links has unique parameters. So I know exactly where the traffic is coming from. And based on that, I can like optimize the next article. So I can be like, okay, like this tracking link didn't like generate anything. Apparently people are not interested in, I don't know, like signing up for free. I'm just making this up. I don't know. Signing up for the subscription, but they are all clicking on the 15% off. So like apparently they do want to have like a discount that seems to be working really well. So like next thing, like let's put that more in the spotlight. Or like this feature for this product seems to like generate like a lot of like attraction for the customers. So like let's talk more about like this specific feature of our product in the articles from now on, because like that seems to resonate with our audiences that we're trying to target. Then like based on those, like those articles are always going to be live. I would also recommend like boosting those articles, not doing it yourself, but like maybe have the content creator or like the publishing house like boost it on their social, right? But like instead of like driving traffic on social of that specific content partner to your website, I would say like drive that back to the article so you get more eyeballs on the article, and that way you can push the people down the funnel a little bit easier. So like there are like different techniques on like how to get, as I said before, most bang for your buck. I think like not everybody is doing this, so I hope this is like useful information for your readers or like listeners. But like I think like that strategy has like resulted in like pretty good returns for us.
Every affiliate program that reaches any kind of scale is likely going to have to deal with bad actors. What sort of bad behavior have you seen in affiliate programs, and what are some of the mitigating techniques that you've seen to deal with this behavior?
Yeah, I would say bidding on keywords is one big one. So there are affiliates that are bidding on like brand keywords. That's not allowed unless like we give them like approval for a TM Plus campaign or whatnot. So like for that, we have like, for example, the search monitor or brand variety in place. And those like tools like help us to like catch those so we can like warn them and like tell them to stop doing that before like we kick them out of the program. We call those violators, people who are violating the terms. We also like see like a lot of like fraudulent clicks sometimes, unfortunately. So like bot attacks on like tracking links of like affiliate partners. So like it lowers our conversion rate because like there's a lot of traffic coming in, but like it's all fake traffic. So like the bots, so like the conversion rate goes down. I've seen that happen in the past. That's not necessarily like a partner's fault. It's most of the times like they're just unfortunately the victim of a bot attack. But like another like example is like content not going live on time. I wouldn't say like it's like a drastic. Most times like there's a good reason for it, but like unfortunately sometimes like that happens, and then like we have to like damage control that with our clients. Like okay, like this article didn't go live on time because the partner didn't respond, or like the editor was out, or they more time, or whatever it is. And most of the times like when a partner is like messing up, they do like try to make it right. So like they will give you like a make good placement or like something else as like a benefit. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, no, definitely. So if we're to summarize, what would you identify as the key elements of a successful affiliate program? Like what are the core principles that you need to get right for your affiliate program that's going to set you apart from someone who's not going to get that success?
As a agency or as a affiliate marketer in general?
As an affiliate marketer in general, yeah. Like if I'm working for, some brand and I'm trying to manage and scale up an affiliate program, what are the key elements that I need to nail?
Yeah, I would say like create like good relationships with your publishers. That always helps. Understand like what the key moments are of your promotional calendar. So like when you want to like really push out like additional promotion, understand your customers' needs and like where they are currently like shopping around or like trying to obtain information about products. Understand like what is resonating with them. So like test and learn, A/B test, like adding like tracking links to like articles, adding tracking links to like placements. So like A/B tests in general. So like you have like a clear understanding what is working and what isn't working. And then lastly, also have fun with it, right? Like I think like the most like I really like this job. I think it's one of the most like fun jobs that you can do in marketing because like it's very cooperative. Like you work with a lot of people, you talk with a lot of people. And I think like trusting who you're working with like definitely helps a lot because like they know their audiences way better than you would know their audiences, right? You can analyze it, but like at the end of the day, like they know everything about their audiences and they have the experience to know like what is working and what isn't working. So listen to like the advices and the recommendations that your publishers are giving you and like go with that. Test it out. You'll be surprised.
One last question I want to ask you, actually. Most of our customers are SaaS businesses that are setting up affiliate programs. When you mentioned the list of customers at Hamster Garage, there was a few SaaS companies or certainly tech companies in there.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any things specific to SaaS and affiliate marketing that you've observed in terms of, best practice or things for success?
Have a budget. I would definitely say like have a budget. If you're like currently there's a lot of like SaaS companies out there and they're all competing for like marketing real estate. So if you are a SaaS company and you're trying to enter the affiliate world and you're like a startup, which I'm thinking like most of your readers are probably startups, have a significant budget for like placements because like the market currently with like when it comes to like tech companies is like pretty populated to say the least, and you're competing with like everybody basically. So those partners don't want to work with you for free. You're a startup, they don't know how you're going to perform, they don't know like what your customers are doing. If you're like a company that nobody has heard of before, like you're not a masterclass or a hopper or like whatever, they're probably not going to work on a CPA. And then like but you still need that exposure. So how are you going to get that exposure? Simply by buying it. So you will have to have a budget available and like understand like from the beginning, like what is working and what isn't working. It's like you can do that by, for example, like asking for a test campaign. Those are normally like a lot cheaper than like a full-on campaign. And once you know like what is working based on that test campaign, you like optimize based on that. So like feel like testing and like having a budget to test and to understand, and like also like be patient. You're not going to get sales the first month. You're going to set up a campaign on the platform. It's going to take time. You're going to like start like reaching out to affiliates. Like that's going to take time. You're going to get like content live. It's going to probably take some time for the affiliates to create content and find a spot for you where they want to promote you. So like be patient and like have like a clear understanding of like what the steps are, and like provide the partners with what they're asking for, because like at the end of the day, like we're relying on them to drive that traffic to your website.
And so when you say have a budget, does that basically mean to get initial placement? So you would give them a CPA deal on top of, I want you to add me to your best CRM software of 2023 article. I'll pay to have that initial review done, and then I'll also give you a CPA on top of that.
Most of the times you don't even have to give them a CPA. Once you give them a flat fee, but like you can, for example, work on a minimum guarantee, which I think like would work better. Then like you're saying like you will earn at least this much money.
Yeah.
And like every additional sale that you drive will go towards it. And once you exceed that number, we'll pay you out whatever the commission is. I think like that's probably like a good way of like, if you don't have the budget, but you do think this partner is going to perform really well, to like push them a little bit to like feature you. Because like commission alone, like for like a content partner, is most of the times not going to work. Not gonna be worth it for them specifically.
Right. So you could start off. You could basically say, I'm just making up numbers, but say like, okay, I'll pay you $1,000 up front, or let's say if that's the number, right? I'll pay $1,000 up front, and the commission's 20% of the recurring subscription or whatever. Yeah. But I'll pay you $1,000 up front, and then we're going to have an affiliate link. And as you're earning commissions, the first $1,000 we've already paid you up front. And then once you get to $1,000, then we'll start paying you affiliate commissions after that.
Yeah, that's like a good way of looking at it. So like I mostly do it the other way around. It's like I'll pay you like whatever, like $1,000 for this campaign for a month, right? And then like I'll see like how much commission is being like fed into the program, and then like whatever is left, like I'll top it up. But if they exceeded it, I don't have to top it up, obviously. So like for example, like after a month they drive $400. So I'll give them like $600 because I promised them at least $1,000 for that specific placement.
Interesting. Okay. Yes, huge made. Okay. Very interesting.
It's like for like a more limited budget. It's a good way of still getting that exposure and like still kind of like pushing the publisher to like feature you and like create content around you for you. But like with the motivation to create content is actually going to convert. And most of like if they are converting well, then like they will like throw in like some additional placements because they're trying to exceed that $1,000, right, and earn more money. Yeah,
super interesting.
Yeah,
I mean this has been super educational for me. I'm sure everyone that watches our conversation is gonna feel very similar. So thanks a lot for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.